welcome. Welcome to another episode of Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. And we're going to get right to it. The 1995 Houston Rockets and the 1981 Rockets actually have something in common, okay? But before I get into that, just want to talk about the 94 Rockets first. Jordan just retired, okay? So, the Houston Rockets won their first 15 games, which included a victory over the Knicks. And according to the Rockets, the Knicks were talking trash that they were going to stop, that the Knicks were going to stop the Rockets' 14-game losing streak. Yet instead, it was pretty much a blowout in which the Rockets easily got their 15th straight victory. So they won 15 straight, and they won, and they were 22-1 overall. So they won their first 15, and they started the season at 22-1. Okay, and they finished 58-24. Kicked the Portland Trailblazers out 3-1 in the first round. And we all know what had happened in the second round. Houston lost 2 20-point leads, game 1, game 2, to the Phoenix Suns. Houston came back 1-7, clutch city, and they pretty much had their way with the Utah Jazz in the Western Conference Finals. 4 games to 1. Then they beat Houston. They beat the Knicks in 7, which is pretty much known for the events that took place before Game 5 in New York. Kenny Smith recalls talking about it. He said it's pre-heat game, and they look over at a monitor and they see a car chase going on, and and it was OJ. They said it was OJ who was on the run, and they were like, "What? OJ? OJ's on the run?" Yeah, so they actually made a documentary about that. 30 for 30. So, the NBA Finals were taking place when OJ was, on a police chase through LA. And so, like I said, a 30 for 30 was made about that. So, the 95 Rockets were a team that was really struggling. They actually started out the season 9-0. Okay. But they started losing, and that's the harsh reality of being an NBA champion. Unless you're the Chicago Bulls, who, when they won their first championship, they were 67-15 in 1992. Okay, so so it was around mid-season when they lost 122-107 to the worst team in the league, the sorriest team in the league, the Clippers. Okay, they lost 122-107 to the Clippers, and short time thereafter, they made the trade for Clyde Drexler, and the Rockets only finished with an 18-19 record after the Drexler trade. And not only that, Clyde Drexler was taking Vernon Maxwell's minutes, and Vernon wasn't happy about that. And if you watch that documentary, Clutch City, Vernon Maxwell didn't play the whole game. Really didn't play the whole game in Game 1 in Utah. Okay. So, Rudy T says Rudy T calls for Vernon Maxwell to go in the game. The Jazz led 102-100, and they sent in Vernon Maxwell to attempt a game-winning three. He missed, and Vernon Maxwell talked about that. Vernon Maxwell went off. Vernon Maxwell went off in the locker room, and the Rockets sent him home. And they defeat Utah 3-2, come back from 3-1 to beat Phoenix. Defeat San Antonio, sweep the Orlando Magic for their second straight NBA title. So this is where the 81 Rockets and the 94 Rockets and the 95 Rockets, have something in common. Okay. So the Houston Rockets of 95 didn't have the home court advantage throughout the playoffs. Neither did the 81 Rockets, okay? But the 81 Rockets won 8 of 12 on the road in the playoffs. They finished 40-42, okay? And they won 8 of 12 in the playoffs, including the NBA Finals. Now, through the NBA playoffs and Game 2 of the 81 NBA Finals, they were 9-2 on the road. Think about that for a second. A team that finished 40-42 was 9-2 throughout the NBA playoffs and the NBA Finals through Game 2. They were 9-2 on the road, and they won 8 of 12 on the road, just like the 95 Rockets did. They won 8 of 12 on the road. Okay, so the 81 Rockets and the 95 Rockets, when it comes to the playoffs, have similar. They are very, very similar. Only difference is the 95 Rockets won the NBA championship and the 81 Rockets didn't. Okay, so that's the only difference. But yeah, the 95 Rockets and the 81 Rockets, very similar teams. Very similar teams, okay? They were pretty damn good on the road. And when you can win on the road in the playoffs, when you can win 8 of 12 on the road in the playoffs, yeah, you're probably going to end up getting to the NBA Finals. Now, you probably won't win it like the 81 Rockets, but the 95 Rockets actually did pretty easily, so to speak. So I was thinking about this. The Detroit Pistons, before they came the Detroit Pistons of the 80's, they were primarily a offensive team. It was a run and gun team. And it all started in 81 with the drafting of Isaiah Thomas. Then Bill Laimbeer and Vinnie Johnson came in that same year. They actually traded for Vinnie Johnson, traded for Bill Laimbeer. And so it was a run and gun affair. And so then they go on and hire Chuck Daly. 83, 84. Then, of course, Bernard King and Isaiah Thomas have that duel in Game 5 where Isaiah scores 16 points in 984 seconds. But the Knicks ended up prevailing in overtime in Game 5 of the first round of the NBA playoffs. And so the Pistons added defensive help in the 85 draft when they drafted Dumars, okay? Still didn't translate to playoff success because they got kicked out by the Atlanta Hawks 3-1 in the first round of the 86 playoffs. They also added Rick Mahorn in the 85 offseason as well. And then the big change happened in the '86 draft, where Isaiah Thomas talked about it. He said, because the Pistons were a run and gun team, not only did they have Isaiah Thomas, but they also had Kelly Tripucka as well. Okay. So Isaiah Thomas talked about it. He said they replaced Tripucka and Kent Benson, with Dantley, Sally, Rodman, and Mahorn. Then you got Dumars. And so it was after 1986 when they lost to the Hawks in the first round that they said, we're not going to be all offense. No. We're not just going to be all offense. We're going to dedicate to defense. Okay. So when you add Rick Mahorn, when you add guys like Adrian Dantley, when you add guys like Dennis Rodman, John Sally, Joe Dumars, and the result was a 52-30 season in '86-'87. We all know what had happened in the playoffs. The Isaiah pass, and actually Bill Walton actually had a joke about that when Bill Walton and Isaiah Thomas were at the NBA on NBC. Bill Walton was like, it was the pre-game show, okay, for the NBA on NBC, and Bill Walton was talking. Can't remember what he said, yada 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 yada, except for when he was guarding Isaiah Thomas on inbound passes. Oh God, I remember watching that on TV. And my dad said, "Oh my God, that was a cheap shot." That was a cheap shot. But yeah, so they make the NBA Finals in 1988, lose to the Lakers in 7. Then the mid-season trade of Dantley to Dallas for Mark Aguirre put them over the top. And after the Dantley trade, the Pistons won like 31 of their next 33 games, and they didn't drop a single game at home. They won 31-33 after the Dantley trade, and they didn't drop a single game at home. Okay. And swept Boston 3-0. Swept Milwaukee. Beat Chicago in 6. Swept the Lakers in 4. NBA champions, the Detroit Pistons, and so they come back the next year. Got off to a little bit of a slow start. Then they ended up winning 25 of their next 26 games. And they ended up finishing 59-23. Swept up the Pacers. Beat the Ewing-led Knicks in 5. Beat the Jordan Bulls in 7. And they won. So they win game 1 against Portland, in which Isaiah went off in the fourth quarter because Portland led by 10. They led by 10, 90-80, with a little over 7 minutes left. So Portland had a 10-point lead, and that's when Isaiah Thomas took over. Okay. So Detroit wins game 1. Portland wins game 2. And for those of you who are NBA history junkies, you remember what Terry Porter said after they won game 2. We going to the crib and we ain't coming back. Okay. So, can't forget the guy or the name. I think the guy's last name is, he was a writer for the Detroit. I think the guy's name is Terry Foster, if I'm not mistaken, but he recalls, he said, the Blazers were very, very cocky after winning that second game. He says, I remember Terry Porter saying, we going to the crib and we ain't coming back. And Bill Laimbeer was talking about this. He said, the Pistons always look for moments where they can rub someone's face in it. And the Portland Trailblazers were the perfect team where they can just rub it in Portland's face. And which they pretty much did. Because Kevin Duckworth was just so frustrated by Bill Laimbeer. Kevin Duckworth was just very frustrated against Laimbeer. Not only did he frustrate Laimbeer, he kind of frustrated Buck Williams, frustrated Drexler, frustrated the Portland crowd, frustrated the Portland coaches. Bill Laimbeer, as much as I didn't like him, he was a pretty good agitator. And boy, did Detroit ever rub it in Portland's face in 1990. And Benny Johnson hits the game winner, of course. So, yeah. All right. That is it. That's all for Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am Sean Farrell. Peace out. God bless. I am out of here.